We used to do this like every single morning, Saturday morning for our bar mitzvah classes. Those were the days.
Good evening, everybody. We are on page 18 in the article Sidur, and we are doing Elohay neshama. We started it last week, actually, and I just want to maybe recap a little bit. So, after we made Birkat Torah, we said the brachas on the Torah. You know, we are not going to enjoy Torah without making a blessing before. So we already went through this whole system. We have to make a blessing, and once we made a blessing, we have to start enjoying it. And that's why we have got an excerpt of Chumash, Mishnah, and Gemara. Once we are gone through this, now we jump in. We jump into Elohay neshama. So we are in bed. We got up, so saying Moida Ani. We already washed our hands. We even already said Birkat Torah, which we explained in the weeks before. Now we are standing in the synagogue, and according to Nusach Ashkenaz, we are already with tefillin. Yes, we have already got the tefillin on. According to Nusach Sfarad, we don't have this tefillin on, or the girls, the ladies don't have tefillin on, of course. Except if you are one of the Neshota Kotel, then maybe you would. And we are saying Elohay neshama shenosan to be. God, the soul which you gave me, is completely tahor. It's totally pure. Ato boroso, you have created it. Ato yetzarcho, and you have fashioned it. Ato nafachto bi, you have blown it into me. And you make sure that it always stays safe inside me. And you will in the future be taking it away from me. And you will even in the time in the world to come, you will give it back to me. So this is where we left it last time. The point is this, that the composer of this piece, he tells us the following. Every Jew has to be aware that the power which makes him move, which makes him alive, is the soul which is in him. How did this soul come to him in the first place? Through God blowing it into him. This is also in Bereshis, the very beginning of Bereshis, Genesis. There the Torah tells us that the Shpoch blew HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew into the human being the neshama of life, and whatever it is, okay. And since we have a neshama in our body, it is quite fascinating that it stays in our body, because we've got so many holes in our body, and the neshama could actually depart our body, but it doesn't, because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that it stays conserved inside the body. How long? As long as Hashem wants it to be there. Once Hashem decides it hasn't got to be there anymore, or once the person has not behaved in an approach, some people pass away before their destined time, because of the Shlomo thinks that if you leave that person in the world for longer, then he might mess it up even worse. So the Shlomo takes him away. But whatever the case will be, the Shlomo decides when this neshama is leaving the world. And that is when the neshama goes. And the neshama is gone, but it's not gone forever, because the Shpoch will put the neshama in a special place. And once the Olam Haba, the era of the world to come, starts, this is when we get our neshama back. This is when we reunite with the neshama. So, therefore, because we have got something inside us which we can completely not control. It's impossible. It's totally not under our control what we do with it. Therefore, we have to be very thankful for it. And that's why we say, as long as this soul is inside me, I am grateful to you. What does it say here for Moida? Yeah, I'm grateful and thankful for you. Hashem Elokai, Elokai Yahweh, Hashem, my God, and the God of our forefathers. You are the master of everything that works in this world. And you are Adoin Kol HaNeshamas. You are the Lord of all the souls. And therefore, because I'm grateful to you, because I'm thanking you, I'm saying, Baruch Ato Hashem, HaMachazir Neshamas Livgoim Meisei. Blessed are you, Hashem, who restores the souls to the dead bodies. Okay, so a dead body is not only in Trios of Ancient times, but each and every person is a dead body in the morning when he gets up. Before you get up in the morning, you are a dead body. Do you realize that? We are dead bodies, but we are not as dead that we are actually we're not as dead in a sense that we are going to, that whoever touches us has to go to the mikveh, has to have the Efer Paranuma, the dust, not the dust, it's not the dust. Yeah, that's it. What's the translation for that?
Ashes.
The ashes, thank you. Yeah, that we don't have to have the ashes of the red heifer, but we do have to wash our hands. Okay, it's an introduction, it's a beginning, it's the very beginning of Tuma. So that's why we wash Negelwasser in the morning, right? No matter if you do it next to your bed or if you do it in the bathroom, wherever you do it, you have to wash because you have to take away a certain impurity from your fingers, from your hand. And if you don't take away the impurity, then you are walking as an impure person through the day, right? That's why we are washing our hands in the morning. So it's a good job that nobody is watching us in the bathroom, because at least there we can wash our hands. Right? Now the ritual washing is not washing with soap, with hot water and disinfection, disinfectant. Yeah, that's not the point. The point is ritual washing has got a specific order. You have to take a vessel, you have to fill it up with water. That vessel should be damaged here. Yeah, it has to be complete. And with that vessel, we fill it up, we wash one side, the other side, and if you do it completely correct, then you first take the vessel into your right arm, you put it over into the left arm, and you first pour the water onto your right arm, and then you go to the other side, and this you do for 3 times. Goes as far, that the Gemara says that whoever is not economical with the water, he can be assured that he will always have sustenance in abundance.
Can I just ask a question?
Please.
Seeing that you said 3 times, at the Shema, when you say the nighttime Shema, and there's the 4 different sentences you have to say.
3 times?
Yes. Why 3 times?
Okay, so that's business with the number 3 is a quite interesting concept. The Maharal explains, and he explains it at the story of Matan Torah. In the Torah, it says that Hashem speaks to Moses and he tells him, prior to the giving of the Torah in Parshat Yitro, Hashem says to Moshe, relate to the Jews that they should get ready 2 days before the date, because that's when I'm going to give the Torah. So there's a machloket in the Gemara if the Torah was given on the 6th or the 7th or the 8th of Sivan. Let's assume one date. Which number do you like best? 6, 7, or 8? Just pick one. 8. Okay. So let's assume the Torah was given on the 8th of Sivan. So Kodesh Baruch Hu tells Moses, please tell the Jews they should be ready 2 days before. When is that?
6.
The 6th. Moses doesn't relate it like this. He says to the Jews, be ready 3 days before. Be ready from the 5th. So the Maharal explains, how is it possible that Moses added on a day for his own? Why did he do it? So was it correct that he did it? Hashem tells him 2 days and he puts 3 days. So it must be that Moses understood that there's something very specific about the number 3. And what is it? So the Gemara already says that there were 3 things, again 3, which Moses altered himself. Hashem told him something and he changed it completely.
Yeah.
And Hashem agreed with him. One of the things is that very thing that the Jews should be ready 3 days before instead of 2 days before. The other thing is that he broke the first set of tablets. Hashem was happy with that. Even though he was happy with that. Yasher koach al asher shibarta. Thank you very much that you broke them, Hashem said to him. And the third thing was that from the moment that he met Hashem at the burning bush, he separated himself from his wife. He didn't have any marital relations with his wife because he figured out that it's not appropriate if I am speaking to God, I have to be available 24/7, that I should be so much involved in something so animalistic, let's call it now, and this would be not appropriate if I'm meeting God all the time. So these are the 3 times, you'll see. Can you like not the middle one, the other side? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Makes a difference. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, thank you very much to all these 3 things. He agrees with him that these 3 things are a good thing. So again, the number 3. What is it in the number 3 which makes the difference? So the Maharal explains that the number 3 has got an amazing power. Because every time when you've got a 3, there is 1 which is a starting point, and there's 1 which is the ending point, and there's 1 in the middle. What's the duty of the 1 in the middle? Obviously, everything has got a start and an end.
To keep the balance.
That would be amazing if it would be to keep the balance, but it's exactly the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. What? Look at this. Anything which you are starting always comes to an end. Do you agree with me? There isn't anything which you can start and it will go on for infinite. It doesn't exist, because that's Hashem. Only Hashem can be for infinite. We human beings, when we start something, it is always coming to an end at one point. Eventually it comes to an end. That's the human being itself. It's born at one point and it comes to an end at another point. But in order to separate the beginning and the end, we need something in the middle. And the reason why we need something in the middle, because sometimes the beginning is very imperfect and the end is much more refined and perfected than the beginning. If we don't have a mechitza in the middle, which will make sure that we are not carrying all the flaws from the beginning into the future, then the end will also not be perfected. How can you make sure that when you start something up unperfected, that the end will be as perfected as possible? Only if you interrupt it with something in the middle. And this is the reason why Moses decided to add on another day, because he said this: the first day is going to be to remember that we were in a different place at the beginning. The last day will be very attached to Kabbalat Torah at the end. But in order not to mix the old and the new, we have to have something in the middle. So this is why 3 is always so important. Yeah? Do you follow me?
Yeah, is that why you say it times like...
This is why every time we do something 3 times.
But we
meet in the middle.
No, it's not that though. When we do 3 times, it's like 3 times lucky.
No. It's because we are, as I said.
No, but generally speaking,
there is no luck for Jewish people. It doesn't exist. Luckiness is not something which is for Jews. You can have a cup and you can even walk. Do you want something?
Actually, you know what?
Make an appetizer.
With this,
you want some water, Tom?
Yes. If there's a group of you and you've got a period of time to arrange something, you'll go off, do your own thing, and you'll meet in the middle to see where you are. Then
That's exactly. So therefore, the middle always makes sure that I can forget the past. If I've got good memories of the past, but I'm not going to carry on the energy, maybe some negative energy, into that which is good at the end. So that's why we need something in the middle to make sure. Forget the past, we've got a new start. Yeah? Amen. Do you follow me? Good. Okay, that doesn't matter. Right. So, so this is what we are doing So why did I mention all this? Because we are thankful to God. We have been sleeping the whole night. We were unconscious at night. We lost a specific part of our neshama at night. And we are so grateful to God that we are here now. And that the Baruch gave us back this neshama. And that Hashem gave us back, infused back into us the soul, that we are saying a bracha for this. And this is that passage of Elokai neshama. I did mention at the very beginning, maybe, I don't know when it was, about half a year ago, when we spoke about Modeh Ani Lefanecha.
Half a year ago.
It was even more than half a year ago. Yeah.
No, I don't think it was a year ago, no.
No? Well, whenever. At the very beginning of when we did, at the very beginning when we first started the Sidur, and we spoke about Modeh Ani Lefanecha. 15 months. Yes. So what I said there was, and that's correct for here as well, that we are grateful to Hashem, not only that He gives us back the neshama, that we can get up in the morning and go and play football, that's also nice. But actually what we are thankful for is that the Baruch Hu is trusting us that we are going to do the right thing with our soul. The Baruch Hu could have looked back at yesterday and said, you know what, it's a waste of time to give back the soul to such a guy. He's done so much trouble yesterday, but maybe he's going to do the same trouble today as well. But you know what, Hashem, let's imagine this. There are 365 nights in the year. And 365 times in the year, Hashem gives us back the neshama, the soul, because He trusts us that we will probably do it better today, that we are going to grow today. And this is only in 1 year. Some people like me are already 53 years old, almost, and 53 times 365 times, Hashem trusted me that I'm going to do better with my neshama, and I still messed it up. And Hashem gives it back. He still gave it back to me. Who knows if He gives it back to me tonight?
So we've got to memorize this as well.
We have to memorize that as well. That's very important. That part of Elokai neshama. It's very important to recognize that we are grateful to Hashem. Not everybody does it every morning. Yeah, it's very, very important to recognize that we are thankful to Him for the fact that He's got faith in us, that we are going to do the right thing. Otherwise, He wouldn't have given us back the neshama.
Are we talking about
it's the same thing.
Because isn't that about? What am I thinking of? I can't remember. Is that? It's about. Yeah, it is. It's like your soul and you're reconnecting your soul and your body.
That's what I said. You came too late. I didn't get the first part. But this is exactly the point. The point is that we are reconnecting the two things together. We are putting the power back into the dead body, so to say. That's what we say at the end here. Machazi and neshama is amazing. We are grateful to you, Hashem, that you are putting the back and neshama into a dead body. Of course, we are not dead, completely dead, but we are definitely somewhat dead because, our consciousness is lost at night, and we are grateful in the morning when it all comes back. So this is what yes, when we are learning in the schools of Mindel Rivka Bas Reisel. I saw this today. Okay. Do you know her? Okay. So let's start the brochas, and then we will leave the rest for next week. We are up to page 18. Jacob, welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. Page 18, when we are in the middle of the brochas. So there are... Okay, everybody got it? Page 18? There are 15 brachot here. There are 15 different blessings. One blessing at the end is a machloket in the Gemara if it is a separate blessing or not, but we will talk about it when we get there. And one blessing in the middle is different for females than it is for males. So it's different for males than it is for females. The first blessing which we've got here, all these 15 blessings include every faculty which we are going to be involved with in our normal living day. So the first bracha goes like this: Baruch Ata Hashem, Blessed are you, God, Elokeinu, Melech HaOlam. You are the King of the universe. What are you blessed about? So again, don't forget what we spoke at the very beginning. We are not blessing God because we can't bless God. God is blessed. But we are drawing the abundance and the blessing from the source of blessing, which is God. This is what we are saying here. And this is true for every time when we say Baruch Atah Hashem. What's the blessing here? The blessing is we are so grateful and so thankful to Hashem. Asher Natan Lasechvi Bina Lehavchin Ben Yom Uvei Laila. You gave the what? What's a sechvi in English? Huh?
Rooster.
The rooster. It doesn't say rooster. That's the thing.
Gave me heart to understand.
Who gave them? Okay, that's interesting. Right. So
which one are you reading?
the first one. The first one. Sechvi is a rooster. What's a rooster? Did anybody see a rooster?
No, chicken.
It's a chicken, exactly. So they.
It's like when the sun rises, it makes
exactly absolutely that. It's exactly that. So the Gemara in Brocha says that if you watch nature, there's something amazing happening. The first animal which gives a sound of himself when the day starts is the rooster. The rooster is sitting on the top of the roof. Yoshev al Agag, this is what it says. He sits on the rooftop, and he realizes that the Baruch Hu gave him the wisdom to understand when the new day starts. And because he gives his noises out, that's why the person which lives inside the house knows that he has to get up. It's the alarm clock. The old age alarm clock was the rooster. And why do we make this blessing? What for? So first of all, it's got a practical implication, because there is something in the universe which makes people get up in the morning, of course, yeah. And the other thing is that we are recognizing, that's the other translation for the word sechvi. It's related to sechel. Yes, it's related to sechel. There is something around in nature other than the human being, which we can definitively see that there is wisdom around. Sechel is wisdom, or what's the English translation for sechel?
I think it's the knowledge.
Clever.
Knowledge is there.
Clever. He's
I
clever.
don't like clever.
Intelligence.
Intelligence, maybe that could be. Okay, so sometimes human beings are not intelligent, but what's definitively intelligent is a rooster. This intelligence will never lose. This is amazing. It's actually it's a absolute fascinating concept. Human beings sometimes are more intelligent and less intelligent. But the rooster will always have this intelligence that when the sun rises, that he realizes that he has to get up in the morning. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is an intelligence which has been instilled into that animal, which will never go away from that. It will always stay there. While the human being, sometimes yes, sometimes no. That's why Hakadosh Baruch Hu puts it into an animal, because a human being can go out into nature and can look out for it, and will see what it has to be. It's completely constant. Okay? Yes.
I feel like every blessing of the 15 blessings has a second meaning that we can apply into our lives.
Definitely.
So like this one would be with the rooster, a second meaning that Hashem gives us the wisdom or the intelligence to realize the difference between good and bad.
Very nice, very good, very good, very good, beautiful. Okay, very good. Okay, so you are taking my point one step further, and you are saying, why does a human being have to know intelligence?
Oh, which one are you talking about?
The very first one. So Nomi is making an amazing suggestion.
I've got a question.
I think we have to do this at midnight.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I've got a question in addition.
Right.
It's got here.
No, hang on, wait. I just want to say what she said because it's an amazing point, and then we'll take your question, okay? So Nomi is making this point. We just said that it's important to recognize that human beings have got something in nature which they can look at, which has got a constant intelligence. Why is it important for a human being to know that? Because only then you will be able to differ between good and bad. Okay, if you don't have the intelligence, you will just eat everything and drink everything and do everything because you'll never realize what's good and what's bad. But if you've got this intelligence, which you can learn from a rooster, sefri, then you will have a tool which will help you to differ between the good and bad. So that's Nomi's point. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good.
It's got here heart understanding. So when we were asleep, we're not aware. So why is the first organ that moves the moment we start to wake up is the heart beating?
Exactly because of that. Because otherwise, you see, no, the point is this, I'll tell you it. This is actually very fascinating. We just spoke about intelligence, right? Where does intelligence really dwell? In which part of our body?
Heart.
Don't tell me in the brain.
Heart.
In the heart. It dwells in the
gut feeling. So
no, it's the gut feeling is a word. That's a word, but she's completely correct. Kabbalistically, we know that the reason why it is in the heart is because the heart is the center of the body. Now, of course, you will tell me it's not in the center because it's more up than it's more down. But the answer is that it is in the center because, again, Kabbalistically, the legs don't need to be there. The only reason why we've got legs is because it carries the top body. It's a vehicle to make us move the body from A to B. If we are happy to stay in one place, then we don't need legs. The only reason why we need legs is because I need something which will carry my head and my rest of my body from here to there. But if I'm happy to stay here all my life, then I don't need the legs. Right?
That's
so therefore, if we are taking away the legs, then the heart is in the middle. Yes.
That's why Adam and Eve, his legs was in this world, and his upper body was just a spirit.
That's right.
Or soul.
Exactly. Yeah. So that this is the concept. The concept is that our upper body is what's important. The rest is only an accessory for the upper body, and within the upper body, the heart is in the center, and therefore the intelligence dwells in the heart, and that's why the heart has to be the first thing which starts to beat in the morning. Although that the heart even beats at night as well, but it's on a much lower rate.
You're
not aware, you're not conscious, of course. Yeah.
When I refer to the heart, I mean the center of the body. So this is the Sfirat Tiferet, and it's also, which is the middle column, and I think it's also said in the Bible that Mishkan Chochmah, or Mishkan Chochmah, something, but there's something in the Bible. I remember this sentence.
In the Torah, it's not. I don't know. Maybe in Tanakh.
Maybe in Tanakh, right. and also, in Eastern religion, also this is like the heart chakra, which is where the most subtle energies dwell. So it's always the center of the body. Yeah.
Fine, but the heart is the center. This is what it is Kabbalistically definitively true as well, and this is why we have to kick off the day with the heart. The next thing which we've got here is Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam Shelo Sanigo. You are blessed, the King of the universe, for not making me a Gentile. Yeah. So that is this is a bit of a difficult one.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is
say human being.
Because in many
because Gentile and Goy is not exactly the same thing. Yeah. Okay, Goy is
righteous.
Exactly. So Goy is
a nation.
Gentile means righteous.
Exactly. No, Goy doesn't mean righteous.
No, Gentile. Gentile and also nation.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, no. This is different. The point is this: Hashem has got many nations, and we are the chosen nation. Yeah. But over there it uses the word Am and not Goy. Okay, but there are other places where the Torah does use the word Goy, and even for a Jew.
At the end of from the lower body of Adam.
Yes, okay, but without going without going over there,
that's deep.
without going over there, we can say that Goy, here you can take it, there's over there. In the,
Yeah. I have also my links.
The word
I've
Goy,
got a tissue. No, I haven't.
what we mean to say, there's here, there's over there.
It's okay.
In what we are meaning to say here, what we want to say here is that we are happy that we got up as a Jewish person which is connected to Hashem through being able to do mitzvahs, to do tefillah, to do Torah. This is what it is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu literally could have taken away our soul and could have made us wake up with that soul in a complete different body. And I would even go one step further, and I would say that there are many different types of Jews around. Yeah, there are Jews around which are, there's an Elliot around which gets up in the morning in Edgeware and he knows that he is a Jew and he's doing whatever he can do because he wants to connect. Right? But you could have, at the same time, you could have got up in a body in Oklahoma or in Texas, which in some Jewish body even, and he doesn't even know what it means to be a Jewish body.
It sounds a bit fishy.
Yes, well, it is fishy. Okay, so but obviously we are talking here the extreme, and the extreme would be to get up in a body which is completely un-Jewish, which is completely not connected, and a non-Jew has also got ways to connect to God because he's got 7 Noachide mitzvot, and if he's doing them consciously, they can also connect. But you know what? We are so lucky that we've got 613 ways to connect. So it's much easier for us to connect to God. And that's why we are saying this Baruch Hashem.
Shouldn't it be much harder because we've got a lot more? We've got 600 plus more. And
well, it depends how you view it. It depends how you view it. You know, I'll tell you something. If I'm giving you only 7 tools to build this building, this is one scenario. Or I'm giving you 613 different tools to build this building. So what's easier, to build it with 613 tools that I can choose from whatever screwdriver I want, or I always have to struggle with that one screwdriver, no matter what kind of screw it is? Obviously, it's much better if I've got a big toolbox and I've got 613 different tools. It's much, much easier because I can find the proper screwdriver for the right size of screw, and I can find a different hammer for a different nail. It's much, much easier to build like this. Of course, if I'm not using every tool which is in the toolbox, then my boss will come and will say, "Are you crazy? I've spent so much money on that toolbox and you're not even using it." Do you get my point? Yeah? So the point is that you are right, because if you're not using it, then you're completely right. But the good news is that we have got the wisdom to use it, and we have got tools. You know, we've got people which are explaining us how to use it, and that's why it's easy to use it. It's easy to build. It's not easy to use, but it's easier to build the building if I've got the tools available. And that's why I'm grateful that I didn't wake up this morning as a guy. I'm grateful that I didn't wake up this morning as a Johnny, I don't know what, or my next door neighbor, because I am a Jew and I was able to go to shul and I could put on my tefillin and I could daven Shmon Esrei and I could say Omen Yeishmei Rabbo, I don't know how often. It all gave me opportunities to connect. It's amazing. Imagine I would have gotten up in a body which has got no clue and no idea. And my whole day would have been amazing because the football was great. But you know, that amazingness is also going, it passes by. It's not endurable. Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I have a problem with it. It's because there are Jews who only know the mitzvot b'chitzoniot, and have no idea about the pnimiyut of Torah, and sometimes becomes way too fanatics. And there are Jews who don't do any mitzvot, and there are Jews who have very high shorosh neshama. You have many Jews, and you have many Gentiles, and I'm sorry, I make greatest realized being who live in a non-Jewish body, like the Dalai Lama, Amma the Hagin say, Mother Teresa. So many people, Adam Nivra B'Tselem, and there are many great realized saints in all spiritual traditions. Nobody possesses knowledge. You can say that this is more accurate for a Jew, for his shorosh neshama, to follow this path. I feel this is like very condescending. How you can claim It's very condescending because there are amazing other realized beings in other spiritual traditions who follow, by the way, not the seven rules. They have a very complicated and profound spiritual paths and rules and laws and vows. Buddhist monks also have a.
I will give you. I'll give you my card, and we will discuss this in private.
Most Jews are doing Avodah because they look at God as something
Doesn't
external
make it
and
correct.
inside.
Doesn't make it correct.
We will discuss it another time. This is not for now because we are doing Sidur and not Buddhism.
Yeah.
So,
No, but what about בביתי?
we will.
בית תפילה לכל העמים. My difficulty is
No,
this.
I appreciate it. I understand it, but it's not fun. Doesn't fit into this talk. We will talk about it another time. I will give you my card, and you will get in touch, and we will go for a coffee, and we will speak it soon. It's not a problem. Let's do just one more, because that is also a very important one. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shelo asani aved. We are grateful that we are not waking
Are you not
up.
going to do the one after that as well?
No, that's why I said we will only do one. And this will make her come back earlier next time, you know. So we
Well, make me according to his will.
Shelo asani aved. What does shelo asani aved mean? We didn't get the slaves. So today we can't even imagine what this means. Because we are Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many people are slaves to their phones?
To them?
Yeah, to their phones.
And their workplace.
Okay.
Food,
Right. Okay. That's why okay.
Money, their workplace.
Good.
Yeah.
So, but listen to this. In this case, if we are talking about phones and addictions, yes, if we are talking about addictions in the general sense, then we've got a massive problem. Because who can say Shelo asani aved?
Exactly.
Who can say this? So we have to take this apart. Are we talking Are we talking of addictions, or are we talking of slaves in Columbus's times, on Thomas Cook's times? What kind of slaves are we talking here? So obviously, when this was written in 2000, a little bit less than 2,000 years ago, then the Anshe Knesset Agdola, when they composed this, probably there were addictions back then as well. We will have to research what the addictions were then. But what they definitely, I think the best illustration of a slave is somebody who has got no control over himself. Yeah, you have got no control. You've got no control because you think that you always have to look at your phone. You always have to take marijuana. If you don't take it for the next 2 hours, you'll go mad. Or whatever it should be, yeah? Or you've got that addiction to, I don't know what. Yeah? Everybody knows what his addiction is. It can be any addiction. Well, Torah can also be an addiction. Because if you do only Torah and you don't leave yourself free time to speak to your wife, then this is also an addiction. Right? So anything which is unbalanced is an addiction. And if you say Shelo asani aved and you want it not to be a bracha levatala, then you better make sure that you control your addictions. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be problematic.
Can I say something? I mean, referring to this particular time, I don't know if it was problematic. There was slavery, and in that way, the Bible is quite exceptional. I think, except for Shnat Yovel, that they had to release the slaves. Also, maybe every 6 or 7 years.
According to the Torah, there
you
are two
couldn't
types
have
of
a
slaves.
Jewish slave.
No, there are 2 types of slaves. There's the Eved Knaani, which there's a special thing that the Canaanites were avadim to the Jews, and you can never get rid of them. If you once have an Eved Knaani, he has to stay with you, and he cannot just leave.
Not even after 7 years.
No, this is only for an Eved Ivri.
Okay.
An Eved Ivri leaves it after 7 years or after your web, after 49 years.
How can you even have Eved Ivri?
Okay, so there are 2 ways. Either if somebody was a thief and he couldn't pay back what he stole, so then Besdin takes him to the market and they sell him for what his value is. But you don't make a mistake, because whoever buys an Eved Ivri has to treat him like a king. He has to give him first the food. If he has only got one pillow at home, he needs to give the Evet Ivri his pillow to sleep on. He has to take care of him like he doesn't take care of anybody else. Okay, so this don't
He's
think.
a worker, he's not a slave.
He's a worker. He's called an Evet Ivri because he's got no control. He can't decide when he's about his free time. But he, on the other hand, his master has to treat him with extremely humanity. There's no, you know. But this is not an Evet Knani. An Evet Knani you can treat like, I don't know.
He's also Nivra B'Tselem.
He's Nivra B'Tselem, but he's got, he's Nivra B'Tselem, but he's got, there's a reason why he became an Evet Knani. He wasn't kidnapped on the street and became an Evet Knani. There will be reasons behind it. And also we have to recognize that Noach cursed his son, Ham, and he said, Evet Avadim, he should be, this was the origin of the curse, was because he misbehaved completely after the flood, and his father gave him that curse. There's a whole discussion in the Gemara how long this curse endures for. According to some opinions, at some point this curse is finished, and today there is no Evet Knani.
But why his future generations or descendants should suffer from his mistake?
Because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. This is what it says by the Egel, for example. It tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the mistake of your great grandfather, you still have to deal with. This goes for generations until no end. That we have to correct the tikkun. Only comes through us. Otherwise, our forefathers don't have a tikkun. And this is exactly the same with the goy as well. Doesn't matter. We have to do the right.
It sounds very just. That you have
It is just.
That you have to take responsibility. Somebody else stole in the shop, even if it was your father, and now you have to carry the.
You as a Kabbalistic, you with Kabbalistic inclined, you will understand that your Shorosh Neshama is connected to your forefather. Yeah, it's not. You are not a newborn person in per se that you have got no connection with your past. You do have a connection with your past, and even if you are a convert, then you also have a connection with the past. Because why are you a convert? Because originally you were Jewish, and somehow between the origin and now, there's this Jewishness got lost on the way, right? But there's always a connection, and the original connection is Adam HaRishon.
Adam HaRishon actually is connected to all neshama.
Yes, of course, but then there was a split up. In the time of Dora Flaga, things were split up into 70 parts, and this is what it is. So this conversation will continue, and you know how we will continue it next week. We will start with the bracha of Shelo Asar Niisha. So everybody who wants to know everything about it should come on time. Have a good evening, everybody.
When are you going to have next shiur?
On Monday, next Monday. This week was an exception that we did.
You can